Welcome to a very cold episode of the Radio Toons podcast. I'm Steve.
I'm Ernie.
We are your hosts. It's fucking cold today, dude.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think it's I think it's all the wind, dude. Because I was up at my job. I stepped out and my hair flew back. It's like I had combed my hair all nice this morning. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna blow dry my hair.
Yeah.
Make it look real nice. Step outside and.
Yeah.
Just all over my face.
I noticed that too because it was sunny. Like the sun was coming in through my window, and I put a tank top on, and I went outside. I was like, "Fuck that!" I have no idea what happened. It's usually summer all year long in California. We are literally the sun, so it's a bit strange for me to be cold for a change.
Yeah.
But we have a shitload of things to talk about this week. The best game ever recently got re-released on Switch.
Oh my gosh.
It's called Bayonetta. And also Bayonetta 2.
Bayonetta 2 came out, and this was the weird thing. If you bought it digitally, you could buy it a little cheaper and just get Bayonetta 2. If you bought the physical copy like I did, they give you a code so you can get Bayonetta 1 later on and download it for free.
So Bayonetta 1's not out yet?
Not yet. It'll be later on, yeah. Okay, but right now, I'm having a lot of fun playing Bayonetta 2.
Right.
Because, damn, it is such a fun game. So much fun. And because it was the Nintendo version, it's already got all the costumes unlocked for you.
Yeah.
Like the Princess Peach, Samus, Link, all these different ones.
You know what I want to say about that real fast? I feel like because I owned a Wii U, it's hurting me. Do you know what I'm saying?
What do you mean?
People that just bought the Switch, they're like, oh, Mario Kart 8, never played it. You know, oh, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, brand new game to me.
Never played it.
Yeah, Bayonetta 2, exclusive to Wii U, now can finally play on the Switch. And I'm sitting here like, I've already played all this shit, like waiting for new stuff. It's almost like it hurt me to own a Wii U. You know what I'm saying?
I remember. You know, it's funny when you... when I was playing it and then I touched the screen to do something. You were like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It still has touch screens? I was like, yeah, it still has a touch screen.
I just find that strange because no other game on Switch acknowledges the touch screen at all. Developers don't really use it. You said that Doom had something. Yeah,
that you could activate certain things on Doom. You can map it to the smash attack, like you could punch. Or you can either punch, or you could set it to the Joy-Cons to as you fling them.
So you can fling the whole screen and
exactly. They don't want to do that. So
drop your Switch.
All the menu items work with the touch screen and everything.
Okay.
They use them, but usually just for menus and things. Unless you're actually gonna draw or write or do something to that nature.
That's what it worked for best on Wii U.
Yeah.
Wind Waker HD with the touchpad, with all your items on the gamepad.
Yeah.
That was so great.
Yeah, because you could touch and go.
Yeah. Wii U was I know it was a failure, but there were so many things I liked about the gamepad, especially when I had Netflix and stuff.
It was I have to say I agree because I feel like it's not enough people took the time to think about two screens the same way that Nintendo did. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a gimmick. It felt like something that could have been very here's your gamepad that goes through the game. Some people could have just developed something to control the screen very well because that touch screen was really, really good. Yeah,
and also they started putting DS games onto Wii U towards the end. I had WarioWare Touch and I finished WarioWare Touched on my Wii U and I was like, this is so fucking great, dude. This is like a giant DS. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The only thing that sucked was that
the battery on it didn't last.
The battery was an issue for sure, but my Wii U in particular would always freeze. I don't know if that was a problem with a lot of them. I know my friend also said he had that problem, so I'm gonna say it was a recurring problem. But I was like, why the fuck does this shit freeze? I paid money for it and it just won't work.
That's strange. Yeah, mine never did that.
Super frustrating. Shantae. Half Genie Hero was another one when it came out on Switch. I was like, I already fucking played this on the Wii U.
We bought it on my Wii U or yours?
On yours.
On mine, yeah.
Remember that
we beat that game in one day.
Yeah, we played the whole thing.
We played the whole thing. I think it's just a Saturday. I was taking care of my kid, and we were just like, you know what? He's probably gonna fall asleep right now. He ended up falling asleep, but we played for 6 hours, something like that, straight, and we beat the whole thing.
I love that game. That's a great.
That was a great game. Yeah.
But back to Bayonetta. It's if you don't know, it's Hideki Kamiya. He's the producer of the first Bayonetta, creator of Bayonetta.
Right.
He did the Devil May Cry series. He did the first one. He created Dante. So he's got experience with like these hack and slash style games. He also did Beautiful Joe.
Another great game.
And Okami. But I've always been a fan of this guy's games. So like just anytime they port like Bayonetta. Or like they put when they put it on a computer, I'm like, I have to have it, gotta have it. Always.
And it's not so much that I need to have it on whatever system. I just want to support them making more games like this because besides Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, there's not a lot of them that do hack and slashes this way.
Yeah,
if you know what I mean.
I mean, we've already talked about it like I think several times, but it's cool that like Devil May Cry, it's a hack and slash, but it has like its style system, you know. So it keeps you engaged throughout the game, and it's like, you know, mix it up and see what you can do. There's lots of different ways to play that game. Bayonetta's more focused on the dodging, you know. So it's all about getting that good dodge, that satisfying dodge that puts you in a witch time, and then you start like this big combo or something.
Right. But Bayonetta has that built-up meter where, you know, like in Devil May Cry has the devil meter.
Yeah. You
can go into like kind of a fury mode. That never appealed to me as much as Bayonetta. Because she has now in this one she has the Devil Witch trigger, which is, you know, sort of the same, but also has like the climax and the torture attacks, which I still really, really love. And those are little bonuses you get as soon as you build your meter. You can punish these guys.
It's like your reward. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Little tiny rewards. Yeah. Plus she does have a combo meter as well, but it's not as prevalent as Dante's.
That's what's cool about this game is like you could say like Kamiya could have easily just done another style system or whatever for Bayonetta, but he didn't. No. He wanted to make the same style of game, but he wanted it to have its own little rewards, you know? Kind of like, you know, Conquer. I'm going to compare it to Conquer. In Conquer, you don't get, like, stars. You get the little cutscenes.
Right,
you know?
Yeah. Those are always hilarious.
It's like you get cash, yeah, that's the physical prize or whatever, but you play because you want to see the funny cutscenes, you know, and that's the prize of the game.
Yeah.
And I think Bayonetta is like that, has that same kind of, like, moment where you're like, that's a new enemy. I got to see what the climax, you know, attack is.
That's one of the best things about that game, and it adds to the replay because getting the climax... To see what monster she summons,
right.
and all that stuff, so freaking awesome. And in this game, because by the way, you know the other day how you told me that to destroy angel portals, she gives a little kiss.
Yeah,
I figured out when she shoots a heart.
Yeah,
that's because that's how she gets rid of devil windows.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's the difference. Anyway, sorry, that was just for us. But the difference in this one is like. When she summons it in the very beginning, there's like a cutscene where she does it. The summon betrays her.
Right.
So she has to fight it off. So the norm from the last game, which is, you know, make a summon and it destroys it because I'm summoning things from hell to destroy angels, now gets flipped on its side. So now when you do your climax, you don't know if this one's going to be loyal to you or not.
Okay.
Kind of thing. So it's kind of a cool twist on the old formula. That's why I really dig this one. I don't love the short hair. And apparently that's a big issue with a lot of people. Some people are all like, I don't like the short hair, I like the long hair. I like long-haired Bayonetta, not short-haired Bayonetta.
I personally like long-haired Bayonetta. A lot of people like the new look, which is fine. I mean, it's whatever. I think it makes her head look kind of small, to be honest. It does.
Actually, you know, I was playing it with my wife in the room, and she was like, her head looks really small. It's like, yeah, no, trust me, the proportions are all off on Bayonetta. Yeah. Her limbs are like way too long. Her torso's like tiny, and her head's really tiny too.
She looks very stylized, even though the game has like realistic graphics. She still looks very stylized. And I think this game, like just like Devil May Cry, it's like you can see right away it's a very like passion-driven game. If that makes any sense. A lot of the cutscenes are really, like, over the top, and they're crazy, and it's like, you wouldn't do that, or you wouldn't go through that amount of trouble if you were just making a game to make money, basically, you know? That's what I'm trying to say, like...
Yeah, no, it was a little hard to explain that, because, like, Cindy's watching me play this, is my wife, and then she, first she said that comment, I was like, well, yeah, because the reason that Bayonetta's, like, proportioned that way is so that when she dodges, it's clearly visible. Because you got her, she usually does like a backflip, so her legs will be like, throwing through the air, so it's prevalent.
Right.
She's like, that's not why. And then like the cutscene that I was looking at was like Bayonetta's bent over and she's like slapping her own ass and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and explain this one. But I get it, like all these little parts of it, like they didn't have to do these, right, and they didn't have to do them in the way they did them. They could have just gone for like way skimpier outfits. They could have done like way more sex appeal, but they're stylized in a way that they are very much sex appeal, but they're not. It's, you know what it's like? It's like the first few Tomb Raiders where she was really sexy, but she wasn't like just a sex symbol or whatever. She was actually fun to play. The first few Tomb Raiders, and it was like
that's debatable, sure, but
no. Well, I mean, it was PlayStation.
You know,
it was early PlayStation. There wasn't a lot to play.
They're both hot British chicks. I get it. But I think this game. Maybe it's a weird thing to say. I feel like this game is very well respected in the gaming community. Like Bayonetta as a character, I feel is also well respected. It's weird because if you were to look up like Crash Bandicoot's girlfriend, you get millions of naked fucking like DeviantArt Google pictures of her, right?
Like Rule 34.
Yeah, you look up Bayonetta, you just get like the key art. You just get like straight up, because I mean I guess it's because like she already shows most of her body in the game.
Well, yeah, she's in a cat suit.
Yeah,
I mean
like,
she's already pretty much the shape she is. You know what I mean?
Like the point of that, I guess, is what I'm trying to say is that doesn't really play a big role in the game. Like at first glance, you could say like, okay, this game's over sexualized. It's trying to sell me something else, but it's not really. Like the gameplay like speaks for itself. The story is awesome. Cutscenes are awesome. Animation's awesome. It just has so many good things. It's a great fucking game.
I guess a way to illustrate that is, for example, compare it to something that's super sexualized, like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. Like. That is a game that's all sex appeal. I mean, the reason that you're playing it is to watch these 3D ladies do that, because
hell yeah,
I've seen the cuts. That's right, cold beer and hot girl.
Yeah.
The reason you play that is for that, and it translated in the sales. Like the sales of it were moderate, but they weren't. They're not a franchise really at this point.
In Japan,
that's okay. I'm talking about USA. Okay.
Yeah.
And now, if you take that and you apply it to Bayonetta, yes, there's a lot of sexual implications of it.
Yeah.
But you really play it for the gameplay at that point.
I think you do, at least.
I don't revisit that game because, oh, dude, freaking hot, Bayonetta.
I thought actually at first you were going to say something else. Like another example of that would be Lollipop Chainsaw. I think Lollipop Chainsaw is kind of like a bootleg Bayonetta. Because it has all that appeal or whatever. Like this, it's trying to sell you on the sex appeal and all that. Yeah. And it's very, like, naughty and raunchy, whatever.
Right.
But the gameplay is just very, like, monotonous, and it gets really stale really fast.
Real mechanical. I finished that game.
It's not a bad game. I actually, like, got everything in that game because
You wanted the true ending?
No. Despite what I just said, I love games that have, like, boss rushes. It was one of those games. It's almost like No More Heroes. And I kind of like that, even though it's like the gameplay's a little bit I like the fact that like when you go into a level, there's clearly like fucking Mega Man, there's a boss at the end, you're gonna fight that. Like,
and all the people in between are kind of varied, but not really. Yeah. It's like just destroy them all.
Yeah, and then every once in a while they try to throw in something kind of fun. They're like, oh, this is like a top-down shooter, like hold off all the zombies.
Right.
It's like, well, okay, they tried. It's not the best. Whatever, like give them a chance. But in that regard as well, Bayonetta 2 is so fucking good. Like, I was watching you play it, and I was just like, the whole time I was thinking, like, this feels like a Sega Dreamcast game or something, dude. Like an arcade Sega Dreamcast game that I could always pick up and just always have fun. Like, I'm always playing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, yeah, totally. Because at some point, I believe, like, when I started playing, it was in the very beginning of the game, and it turned into, like, I was fighting something, and then all of a sudden Bayonetta spreads her wings out, and all of a sudden I'm fighting in the air. But it didn't feel like... I don't know if it's because I'm used to Bayonetta, but the transition from that to fighting in the air didn't seem like, oh, a whole new mechanic. Or it seemed very
seamless
or natural to transition.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I think that's what it is. It's like arcades are supposed to move you into something, and it's supposed to be simple enough for you to play and pick up like that.
Yeah, there's a part in like the beginning of the game, I think it was, still in the beginning, where you play as Madame Butterfly. She summons her big that the woman or demon or whatever she has the pact with, which is her like
her witch form, basically. Yeah, but it's a demon that she summons from hell.
It's huge, and it comes out, and you have to start fighting with it.
Yeah,
and instinctively, I was like, you can dodge. You have to be able to dodge. You know, you use the buttons to punch, and you dodge, and it's exactly what it was, and it's like it just works. You know, like the game has like really fucking great design as far as that goes, especially pacing too. I think I remember playing that game all the way through to the end, like it's just not stopping. Like it's just adrenaline, like the whole fucking time.
That's so funny you say that, because on Saturday, remember, like I started playing it, and the baby had gone to sleep and everything, and I guess I was just playing until the kid woke up. 3 hours later, he was gonna wake up, and I was like, "Have I been playing for 3 hours and didn't realize it?"
It's a great game.
Been playing for that long. I don't know. I know the style of it is very. It's not like Devil May Cry in that it's super decorative. If that makes sense, like everything is overly decorated.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of like Blaze Blue.
Something like more of a. Is that like a Korean producer that makes that?
It was a Guilty Gear guy. It was
the Guilty Gear guys. Yeah, aren't they like from Korea or something?
It's Arc Systems. I don't know. I
don't know, but that style, like over decorating something, is exactly what like all the angels and demons in this thing look like.
Right.
And it's such a. It's not even a distraction. I enjoy it.
It is. It almost like helps you with atmosphere. You know, you really get a sense of like, this is like almost like Gothic or like Catholic like architecture, and like it has like that religious churchy feel. Yeah. And you know what's cool too is like the not the continuity. What I'm trying to say is like I guess the continuity, but like the fact that they keep doing stuff. Like when they introduce a new enemy, they go into that book or to that tome or whatever, and it closes. You have like that sketchy drawing of it or whatever. It's like they just the presentation is just like ridiculous. Like it's all there. Yeah,
but you know what's great about that, and it's the fact that still exists. But they do it, and the timing on it is so good because it comes out, the picture shows, it closes the books, moves away. Never gets tired of it. I never get tired of it because they timed it right so that it's long enough for you to get a sense of, oh, you know what, there's a world to this.
Yeah.
Each one of these bosses has a name and there's a purpose to them.
Right.
But it's not it's short enough so you're like, okay, all right, let's go.
You know
prepared for it. Let's go.
You know what I'll compare it to? You remember you played Metal Gear Rising, right?
Yeah.
I love Metal Gear Rising as well. It's such a great fucking game. The cutscene where you grab that fucking bead thing out of their chest and like smash it. Never got tired of seeing that. Every time he did it, it's like 2.5 seconds of him grabbing it and then he squeezes it and his eye lights up. I'm like, yes, like that's what I want to see every single fucking time. I'm never getting tired of that.
You know what it almost felt like? It's like the whole. I'm gonna compare it to music only because it felt every time I felt like I was like fighting somebody, especially a boss. It felt like you were putting on this big show, and this was like the last part where they do like the drum goes do 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 boom, and like that's the last part is when he like smashes the heart, you know, whatever, because you're doing the, what is that called, the zatsu or whatever, where you're slicing them up. It almost felt like a drum beat because I kept going like back and forth, and then boom at the end.
Yeah, that's the crash at the end.
Exactly, it almost feels like a crash.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been having a lot of fun with it so far because I feel like I've been playing it for so long that it just feels natural to play it. But having it on the go. Yeah. I was playing it at work and I'm like, dude, I cannot believe I have Bayonetta on the go now. It's so good.
I'm gonna buy it. I just, I gotta wait.
Oh, and you know what? I'm looking forward to you and me could play dual mode or versus mode on.
Oh yeah, there's a 2-player mode, which obviously we haven't tried because I don't have the game yet. But I'm curious to see what that is too because I didn't even know that existed.
I mean, it's gonna be great. Like that is so freaking awesome because it's 2 one-player games like merging into one. So it's like a boss rush, and it's just the 2 of us fighting on 2 different switches. So that means you could be sitting in your room playing, and then I could be. That's what it looked like from the cuts. Like I sent you the video where it's like the 2 of them fighting and everything.
Right.
One boss. I'm like, oh, I can't wait.
Okay.
I want to try that. I wonder. I just don't know how it does it either locally or online. Yeah, that's what I don't know.
I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah. But I'm excited for that.
You know what? I'm debating too. It's like, should I just get the regular one, the regular digital copy, because I get so much shit digital on my Switch, and just like fuck it, I'll buy Bayonetta 1 when it comes out. How much do you think it's gonna? I hope it's 20.
Yeah, probably.
If they just split it up like that.
Right now on PC it's 20, so I would assume it's just 20 all the time.
I hope so. Well, maybe I can check the price later. But yeah, so get Bayonetta for sure. Go ahead and grab that, especially if you have a Switch. But I finished Black Mirror this week.
That's all 4 seasons.
I watched every single episode. Yeah, and I have to say my review. It's a pretty good show. I think season 4 though was a lot stronger than the other seasons.
As a person who watched most of season 4 and then went back to season 1, I agree.
Yeah, we were talking about the Star Trek episode. That one was great. But I think probably my favorite episode is the last episode of the entire series. It's called Black Museum. And the premise is this girl goes to a museum of crime, and this guy is telling her about all these exhibits. And it's 3 different stories in one, and it's fucking great.
Oh, that's kind of nice that they bookended it too.
Oh yeah, it's so awesome, and it has little like references to the universe, and they reference like certain things that like, oh, I knew that, little callbacks to everything. It's really great. And the first story is written it's a story written by Penn Jillette.
Okay.
And I guess they just adapted it into an episode somehow. I don't know if they just fucking asked him or like,
I would assume they would have to ask him.
No, I know, but I'm saying like I don't know if this was something that he made public and they were just like, we need to put this in our show, or if he was just like, hey, I got a story if you guys want to go ahead and use it, whatever. But that one in particular is fucking great. And the way the episode is written too, it is like just my style of like, oh, there's some comedy here, there's some comedy here.
Oh, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, and it's delivered really nicely. It's a fucking great episode. I really like that episode.
Now, in season 4, we both watched Archangel.
You watched that? You finished that?
Yeah, Archangel, yeah.
Yeah, I like that episode. It was a bit like, oh my god, parents, you don't want to understand because you don't have a kid. I fucking get it, but, it was...
But what was funny is when we were talking about it earlier, you had a very different take than I did about it.
Yeah, mostly because everything that you were saying was, like, concern for the parent. Or, like, concerns that you would have as a parent. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I never even thought of it like that, Like, I was thinking of it more as, like, that's what happens when you censor a kid for so long, If he doesn't see these things organically or, like, naturally, if they don't experience these things, they're just going to go out and find it themselves, or it's just going to, like, shoot out like a geyser at one point. It's like I said... it's like the reverend's daughter or whatever they say.
Yeah, pastor's it's the preacher's daughter. Yeah.
It's that kind of thing, and I mean, like that's what the show has. I think is like it just has these interesting talking points like that. Like, oh, what if that happened? Could you imagine if that happened? Or
I will say though, one thing that I didn't like about Black Mirror, at least I watched all of season 1 and like I said, most of season 4. It's more or less F technology.
Okay.
And the hubris of technology. That's kind of what its center is.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I always agree with that. Because, we were also talking about how, like, when the TV first showed up, people were like, man, TV's going to be the downfall of humanity.
Yeah.
It did, it made some people overweight. It has, caused some people to, like, idolize people maybe they shouldn't.
Right.
But you know what? The world kind of finds a balance to all these things.
Yeah, I think I know where you're getting at, because I feel like obviously it's compared to Twilight Zone. I feel like Twilight Zone has more of a lasting appeal because it didn't focus on topics like that. You know? Whereas like Black Mirror is not looking that far into the future. It's looking like around the corner basically.
Yeah.
And it's making these predictions that might not pan out the way that they're foretelling or whatever, Mm-hmm.
I think the reason the Twilight Zone has a lot more on it is because they made each, or most of the episodes, I won't say all, most of the episodes have what do I want to say, like a vice to them.
Yeah.
So it's like greed, sloth, something like that. Always is encapsulated in something that they're doing. Most of the time, it's pride, but each one is written so that no matter what is actually happening, the story can kind of be applied to everything. Like
right.
Like for example, they had an episode where this guy is put on a prison. He's put on a prison planet, so he's by himself on a planet. And his sentence is to live out for like 20, 30 years, blah, blah, blah. But because he did something nice, or I forget what it was, but he did something to kind of repent for it, they gave him a robot lady as a companion. And so the I don't know, the catch or whatever is that he starts to, even though it's an inanimate object, he starts to find he starts to put his own kind of human emotions into it.
Yeah, I think I know which episode you're talking about.
And then, at the end of the episode, spoiler if you haven't watched a movie or a episode from like 40, 50 years ago, he's like, oh, you know what? We found out you're innocent, so let's go. We can come. He's like, okay, just let me go get my, and he calls her by name. He doesn't call her the robot anymore. He calls her by name. He's like, no, dude, the rocket only fits you. We're just going to take you. Everything else is here is going to be left. He's like, you can't do that, and blah, blah, blah. And he had gone so attached to her that the story's trying to tell you is like how, what truly makes something human. Is it something that you put into it? Or is it, we made something actually alive? Well, that's talking about like AI and stuff that's like way into the future.
That's what's so cool is like that show had like I don't know, it was so ahead of its time.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the lessons were kind of universal.
You want to hear something kind of funny, I guess? If anybody remembers the Twilight Zone reboot, that was narrated by Forrest Whitaker. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do remember that. It was
I only saw one episode of it. Okay.
Yeah.
This one episode, this guy keeps waking up in a dream where he's being chased down and eventually shot and killed by a guy.
Okay.
After he gets shot and killed, he wakes up in another dream.
Okay.
And he's like sweating. He's like, what the fuck's going on? I'm somewhere else now. That guy shows up and he tries to kill him again and he gets shot. This keeps happening. End of the episode, it turns out, oh, this guy is in a simulation and this is what prison is in the future. Right? Okay. And I was like, okay, as when I saw it for the first time, I was like, that's kind of interesting, cool. Black Mirror does that same shit at least 2 times. That same concept. That same exact concept, okay? So I understand if it's your first time watching that on screen, I'm like, okay, I get it. But me as somebody who already knew that was like existed, you know, that concept, it's not original to me. So 2 of those episodes were just like, are you fucking serious?
I don't like those when they're done to explain away something.
Yeah.
That right there, that scenario, I categorize that under the dream ending. And I always hate those.
So, yeah, I see what you're saying.
But here's the thing, right? Twilight Zone did that.
Okay.
It was, I think, one of the first episodes. This guy shows up at a town, nobody there.
I remember
and
that
it's
one,
the where is everybody kind of thing. But then you find out it is all a simulation. And he's like, okay, pull him out. It's a simulation, blah, blah, blah. And it talks about how people need each other and they were testing this guy because he's going to go to the moon soon and he's not going to be with anybody for a long, long time. And he's like, and they're talking about human beings need each other. We all need love. Like all these wholesome things.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a point to his isolation, not just, and it was all a dream.
No, I know.
You know what I mean?
That's honestly like, I don't hate, like, scary movies or anything. Well, fuck. Yeah, I do. I fucking hate scary movies. But...
He said it.
Yeah.
Everybody, he said it, all right?
Yeah. But, I don't understand why things like scary movies can't have some wholesome or, like, lesson to be learned from it kind of thing,
Yeah.
And there were some episodes of Black Mirror that ended where they were just like, yeah, because fuck that guy, And I was like... Really? Like, okay, like...
That's kind of how the Star Trek one ends, doesn't it?
Kind of, but... Yeah. Sure, I guess, but... well, that's what I'm saying, is that...
Like, I like these episodes, and the Star Trek one was probably... no, Archangel was, but... it's not... I'm not loving them because of the... There's no, like, oh, yeah, moment in it where you're like, oh, dude, yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Actually,
You know?
the first episode is the one where the guy has to have sex with the pig.
Right.
I remember like predicting like, oh, this is all gonna be this, and then this, and then this, and then the episode ends, and it's like, just fuck that guy. just fuck that guy in particular. I was like, okay, I guess. I mean, sure. I mean, I don't really understand like what I was supposed to think, like if there was some kind of meaning to all that or why it happened, but okay, sure.
I just love that
what
they're so like F technology in that I called it halfway through. Like there's a statement being made.
Are you trying to say like anti-technology?
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's so much about that like
you can say fuck, just so you know.
No. I know I can say fuck, but what I'm trying to say is like it's hard to say this without having to spoil the ending of this episode. But they say because we're all hooked to our screens or something, we didn't notice something obvious.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
No,
and anybody who's seen it knows what I'm talking about. But it's like you're saying that 100% of everybody would be doing this. Is like I can't believe that. I can't, because not everybody is on social media. Not everybody is glued to their TV. Right. Not everybody has cable right now. Like I just hate it because most of these episodes are like 100% or nothing, you know, kind of thing.
And you know what, too? I do understand that the show started a while back, right? And hating on technology, anti-technology stuff is kind of in abundance nowadays.
Sure.
But that's more or less my point. The show is not really thinking very far in the future. Mm-hmm. It's thinking right around the corner, and I feel like we're already around that corner. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, these ideas are already kind of expired. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, okay.
But again, we did like the series.
No.
I like the series.
That's what I wanted to end on. The series is good. I think it's definitely worth watching. It's a very interesting show.
Yeah.
And if anything, it'll spark, discussions or like, it's a
good... and I'll say this, like I said, season 1 to season 4 was a huge jump, obviously, because I saw between seasons. But the stories in season 4 seemed a little more universal than the ones in season 1.
I really liked, actually, I don't think you've seen it, but I think it's called Man vs. Fire or something, or Man Against Fire.
Okay.
It's about an army guy. And that episode was so cool to me. I don't know why. I thought it was really cool, though. Okay. So check that one out if you can.
Check it out.
Yeah. But so Black Mirror is a good show. The movie I watched this week is not a good movie. It's fucking terrible. It's called Evan Almighty.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I have very passive memories of this. Like, I remember seeing it, but I remember not really paying attention to it. Because, we got to take you back. Take you back to before Steve Carell was Steve Carell.
Right.
To kind of set you up for this. And Steve Carell was a funny part in Bruce Almighty. And they thought, you know what?
40-year-old version was already out, if that's what you're going to say.
No, it was out. But this was a direct-to-DVD movie.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
It was in theaters.
It was?
Yes, I swear to God it was in theaters.
Oh, my goodness.
I swear to...
And this was
to Morgan Freeman that it was in theaters.
This was... Wait. So the 40-year-old version was out, and then this came out? Is that what you're telling me?
I think so, because they make a 40-year-old version joke.
They do?
Yeah, it says... there's a movie theater that says 40-year-old Virgin Mary.
Huh.
So if that's a coincidence, if that's like some fucking crazy coincidence, okay, then I don't know. But...
That's funny.
But
because I thought they used him because they were like, we think he can carry a movie.
Which, I mean, he can... But the plot, okay, the plot to this movie is fucking stupid, okay? Right off the bat. Morgan Freeman wants Steve Carell to build an ark.
Okay.
Which is so fucking dumb. I was like, right off the bat, I was like, this movie does not make sense to me. Why would he, like...
Because the storm's coming.
Yeah, but it's just like, even the way the movie ends, is just like... How they're gonna know God exists, like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, he's building he's like fulfilling a prophecy, like, right in front of people's eyes. Like, they're gonna know God is fucking with them or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Bruce Almighty was more or less like, okay, Jim Carrey's little fucking dirty secret or whatever, he's God. But like, I don't know, like, there's not even a moment where God's like, okay, I'll put everything back afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, no, this world is just fucked afterwards, you know? Like, there's a whole... Okay, spoilers. There's a... The flood actually happens.
Of course it does.
Yeah, and everything gets destroyed. And I'm just like, okay, so this is just real? Like...
Well, what did you think he was building the ark for?
Okay, that's what I was going to get to, too, is like... It almost felt like... Because at one point Morgan Freeman says, like, you know, when God... It gets kind of religious. It says, like, oh, when
a movie about God is going to get religious?
Yeah. Imagine that. He says, like, when somebody prays for courage, does God give him courage or does he give him an opportunity to be courageous?
Okay.
You know, and he says, so when a man asks if that he wants his family to stay together, does he give them his family or does he give them an opportunity to be together? So that's kind of what the boat building was, because everyone thinks that Evan Almighty is crazy, and his family leaves, but then, you know, it's like, oh, we should be together, all this. And I was like, okay, if it ends like that, why the fuck not? But the flood actually happens, so there's no metaphor. It's actually, like, physically happening. It's just so weird. Okay. Whatever.
So God killed possibly hundreds of people.
Exactly.
So that this guy could be with his family.
There's water running through the city, and I was like, everyone's dying.
So it's the beginning of Sonic Adventure.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. He creates chaos. I was like, dude, people are dead. They're not just gonna like brush this off, right? Like, people are dead. By the way,
I mean, like, okay, here, in the defense of this movie, right?
Which you haven't seen, by the way.
I saw it passively because
Okay.
I was watching it and not watching it and whatever. But in the previous movie, I remember that in the beginning of this movie, he doesn't want to believe all this stuff, and he doesn't want to believe that
It's the same as Bruce Almighty.
Exactly. So there's these comedic parts where, like, hey, the animals start showing up, and you haven't built the ark yet,
Right.
you know. And then there's the hilarious parts where let's have the animals help us build the ark and stuff. And then there's hilarious parts there
All
too.
CG, by the way.
Yes, of course.
There's
it's
like
CG.
one real animal, and everything else is CG, and it looks so bad. It aged so terribly.
Yeah. But, like, I don't know, the metaphor was a little stronger in Bruce Almighty because you saw examples of what he was talking about. So, like, Bruce tries to just give everybody what he wants, right? And then he sees the consequences of that because God was trying to push somebody by saying no to do something that they needed to do.
Right. I mean, okay.
And there's real life examples of that in the movie.
I get it. Right at the start of this movie, I'm like, this is such a fucking cash grab.
Yeah.
Like, they're just using the fucking franchise. They're using
They tried to make it a franchise.
They're using Steve Carell. He's hot right now. They're going to throw him into a flick, and they're going to make some money.
He will carry this movie with his hilarious something.
It's so weird because, like, he was so strong in The Office, but it just feels like some of the movies where he's like the lead role, he's just not like. I love Steve Carell.
I'm gonna be brutally honest with you. The 40-Year-Old Virgin is the only movie I like him in, and I've seen quite a few Steve Carell centric movies. Like, there's one where he has his head on the pancakes.
Dan in Real Life.
I've seen that one. I've seen Evan Almighty. Like, these movies where he's lead, it's just like
all the good movies that he's in. He's a secondary character.
Yeah.
Anchorman.
Yeah.
He's a secondary character. What is that movie? Little Miss Sunshine.
He was great in that.
He's a secondary character. He's good as a secondary character in like major films.
No. In that one, he's an ensemble because he's getting put into that family because he tried to commit suicide. So they're like an ensemble cast, and through that, like, road
so he's
trip,
a main character.
He is and he isn't. Like, he gets brought into this family, and it's his. You know, while he witnesses everybody go through their stuff, he kind of changes himself.
Okay.
So he is the lead, but it's more like an ensemble cast. It really is. Like, okay. I wouldn't call him the lead, but I guess you could if you really wanted to.
You know what's funny? I just thought that this is so random. Do you remember why we saw Bruce Almighty in theaters?
I don't.
We went to go see The Matrix Revolutions, but it was Revelations, whatever the fuck it's called. But it was rated R, and you couldn't take me to see a rated R movie.
Oh, that's right. And we had to watch Bruce Almighty.
Yeah, we had to watch Bruce Almighty instead.
Which was a good movie. Arguably better than the Revolutions movie.
Yeah, I know, but I just remember you were sitting next to me, and you were like almost like, this is just as good, man. Come on. Yeah.
Were you super pissed?
No, I wasn't pissed. I wasn't pissed, but it's like I want to see fucking Matrix 3, dude. You know, like it was so hyped up. I want to see Matrix 3.
I want to see Reeves. I want to see him stop the bullets.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I can't believe you remember that.
Yeah. Just a little funny story. You know.
But so don't rent Evan Almighty. It's not a good rent.
I would not even watch it. I thought it was so bad. You know what's funny too? I completely forgot about this, but it was recommended to me because I watched The Shawshank Redemption. So because Morgan Freeman.
Right. By the way, just the last thing about Evan Almighty, the stupid thing where he grows the beard. I think that's stupid. I don't know why they decided to do that. It makes no sense in terms of the movie. But it was like, this will make a good poster.
Exactly. That part was also really stupid just because I was like, he's not the fucking Santa Claus, dude. Like, does he have to have a beard? Does it even say in the Bible that Noah has a beard?
It's somewhere Tim Allen is like throwing his beer at the TV going, that's my thing!
Yeah, that's my bit! This motherfucker stole my bit!
That could have been me!
Yeah. But, like, Bruce Almighty, it's like, Bruce doesn't grow white hair, or like, it's so dumb, you know, like, whatever.
He doesn't change physically, really. It's just he has God's power. And it's more of one of those, like, Bruce Almighty, I think, is based on something where it's like, what if you could control the universe kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. So enough about Evan Almighty. We got to wrap this shit up.
Because it's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. So what are the final thoughts, Ernie? How are we wrapping this up?
Well, definitely go buy Bayonetta.
Yes.
Not just because it's a great game, but if you've already played it once, I feel like if I buy more versions of it, people that don't usually do these will make more. You know, maybe a company like Blizzard will be like, hey, people are buying this hack and slash, maybe we should try it. Because, you know, they were like, you know what, a lot of people playing FPSs, let's make one.
So you think Blizzard's going to make a hack and slash because of this?
Is it really that far-fetched?
Maybe not. Who knows?
I know.
But yeah, and I would recommend Black Mirror if you haven't seen it. Go ahead and check it out. I think we recommended it last week already too. So what the fuck?
Yeah, and even though we did give it a lot of we nicked it for a lot of things, and we said like, ooh, Twilight Zone does it some things better. Mm-hmm. I still think it's worth checking out.
We said Simpsons did it.
What's his name? Rod Serling. Serling did it.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. I guess that's it then, right? Yeah.
Unless you're going to recommend Evan Almighty. I don't think
no, I am not recommending that shit. That does it for this week, guys. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.